Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, city leaders make a decision on West Fargo's mask strategy. A look at spring break travelers and why health experts say spreading the virus isn't their only concern. Plus, a baby in Minnesota will grow up hearing the story of her spectacular birth. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
The mask strategy in West Fargo is coming to an end next Monday after a 4-1 vote at the City Commission tonight. That's months earlier than expected.
At one time in the 58078 zip code, West Fargo, we had, on one given day, we had 357 of our residents infected with the COVID virus. 357 that lived in the 58078 zip code. Today we have 11.
City leaders are planning to switch the end date for the strategy to March 22nd, they say, to align with Fargo. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney has indicated that he will allow the city's mandate to expire on that day. While we expect love to take an emotional toll, a new report by the Federal Trade Commission says it's also taking a toll on our wallets. During times of social distancing, more people than ever are swiping left or right on online dating apps. Scammers are taking notice. The FTC says an estimated $300 million lost in romance scams in 2020 alone. There are some ways to protect yourself. Take it slow, ask questions about the profile, and be concerned if someone doesn't want to meet in person.
Something that says like PayPal or Cash App in the bio, that's definitely could probably be a scam. It doesn't always have to be like someone pretending someone they're not.
For more ways on how you can protect yourself from scammers, download the VNL News app. You can find this story on our homepage. And if you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip. The North Dakota Senate has passed a bill that gives minors some leeway in alcohol and drug-related driving charges. Currently, if a minor is caught drinking and driving, their driver's license is automatically canceled. This bill removes the automatic cancellation in some circumstances involving alcohol possession and will allow the courts to decide if cancellation is appropriate.
Penalty. Agreed that a one-size-fits-all approach, especially when there's a judicial system that could find maybe a more appropriate punishment to fit the exact crime, that we should consider that as an option.
The bill passed the Senate on a vote of 37-10. It passed in the House unanimously last month. Recreational marijuana could be available in North Dakota as early as next year. Though the bill faced heavy opposition in the state House, it passed. Now it could undergo some changes in the state Senate. North Dakota lawmakers say they're trying to learn from their mistakes and not let what happened with the passing of medicinal marijuana happen with recreational. The bill has already seen one round of changes where it swelled from 9 to 48 pages. Advocacy groups leading the charge are trying to keep the bill as is.
Nobody who is serious is trying to undermine what the House did in the middle of the process. Now's not the time for that. Now's the time to have something that flies through conference that we don't have to have a bunch of revotes on. That's where we're at. Maybe in 2 years we'll be in a different place.
Both chambers of the Assembly and the governor have to vote on and agree to the same model. Moderna is testing a new version of its vaccine that it hopes can be given as a single dose. The updated vaccine is also easier to distribute because it can remain stable in refrigerators. The below freezing temperature required by the company's current shot makes it more complicated to get to vaccine sites. The new trials are in the early stages. Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson have also said they will test new versions of their vaccines to see if they can be used as boosters to protect against new coronavirus variants. Researchers have found that severe COVID-19 can affect brain function. A study found some patients developed COVID-19 related encephalopathy. Most of them had movement disorders, frontal lobe syndrome, or brainstem impairment, which can cause problems with planning and social behavior. Researchers looked at 78 patients with severe COVID-19 at a hospital in Paris. Of the 78 patients, 9 were affected. The cause of the brain changes is still unknown. Scientists think the virus may be invading the frontal lobe through nerves in the nose. According to a review from the CDC, some COVID-19 guidance during the Trump administration wasn't scientifically based. The CDC's director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, wrote that she had trouble making sense out of the Trump-era documents. Some of them have since been taken down or updated on the CDC's website. Walensky says she is also recommending changes for how the Biden administration handles the pandemic. To stay on top of the latest COVID vaccine-related information, use our VNL vaccine tracker. You can visit our website or open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen and then tap the link that pops up. The CDC may revise its recommendation to distance 6 feet in classrooms. A Harvard study published last week found no difference in COVID transmissions in a Massachusetts school when students distanced 3 feet instead of the CDC recommended 6. The CDC isn't quite ready to revise its recommendations yet, but a decision is expected soon. Health experts are worried spring break could lead to another spike in COVID cases. The scene is ripe for that in Florida, where police are having to control gatherings that are getting too wild. CNN's Natasha Chen has the story.
Spring break is here in Miami, with people crowding the beaches and bars as if there is no pandemic. Some gatherings grew out of control. Miami Beach authorities arrested at least 100 people over the weekend. And without a statewide mask mandate in Florida, local leaders must impose their own rules, something the Miami Beach mayor says is even more difficult with spring breakers in town.
The governor has made it difficult. We have a mask mandate, we just can't find anybody.
Despite the CDC urging Americans to avoid travel, according to the TSA, nearly 2.6 million passengers went through checkpoints at airports across the U.S. Friday and Saturday.
People are going on spring break and letting down their guard as some of these new, more infectious variants are spreading across the country.
The threat of partygoers spreading the virus isn't the only big concern for health experts. While nearly 15% of U.S. adults are fully vaccinated this morning, a large number of former President Donald Trump supporters are refusing shots. According to a new poll, nearly half of people who backed Trump in 2020 say they will not get the vaccine.
In Arkansas, it's a very pro-Trump state in terms of the last election. And so we see that resistance whenever we are opening up eligibility for the vaccine.
We are seeing vaccine hesitancy, and a lot of that's dealing with white Republicans, quite honestly.
While all other living former presidents were publicly vaccinated, Trump quietly received his vaccine in January.
I cannot imagine that if he comes out that they would not get vaccinated. It would be very helpful to the effort for that to happen.
As the vaccine rollout continues, some states like Maryland are relaxing pandemic restrictions, a move the governor defended.
We didn't lift restrictions. We did raise capacity limits, but we kept the most serious mitigation measures in place, which is masking and distancing.
Dr. Anthony Fauci asks Americans to keep following personal safety measures, warning the U.S. is vulnerable for another coronavirus surge.
We can avoid that if we continue to vaccinate people, get more and more protection without all of a sudden pulling back on public health measures.
Meanwhile, the CDC is reporting they have identified nearly 4,900 cases of the coronavirus variant in the U.S. The vast majority of cases, around 4,700, are of the UK variant. That variant, which is more contagious than the most common strain of COVID-19 in the U.S., has been found in 48 states.
In some states, Florida and California, it's up to 25%. In other states, it's lower. Our current models still project, but by the end of March, early April, B117 will be the dominant variant.
24 states have reported cases of the South African variant, but there have only been 143 confirmed cases in patients to date. Some Americans are already spending their COVID relief stimulus money from the Biden administration, but others will have to wait a bit longer to get theirs. The reason? It takes some banks a few days to process checks. Wells Fargo customers who have complained about not getting their money yet got an answer from the bank this morning. In a tweet, Wells Fargo said customers who expect to get their money directly deposited will start seeing it in their accounts on Wednesday. Chase Bank also said its customers will see their money Wednesday. The stimulus payments, worth up to $1,400 per person, are part of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package signed last week. If you're wondering where your stimulus money is, the IRS has a tool for you. The Get My Payments site can help you figure out where and how your money was sent. It also has the answers to some frequently asked questions, like what to do if you haven't received either of the first 2 stimulus payments. All you need to do, or rather all you need, is your Social Security number, date of birth, and address to use the Get My Payment tool. You can find a link on our website, valleynewslive.com. Just click on this story.
My husband kept saying, the water hasn't broke yet. We're going to be okay. We'll make it.
Still ahead tonight, it's a story that will be talked about for years. The baby who arrived on her own terms and the woman who jumped in to help. But first, where's all this chilly and snowy weather coming from? Hutch fills us in next.